Yo, what's up, guys? Imagine a country where you can't even surf the internet freely. We're talking seriously locked down, like only a handful of websites allowed. That's North Korea. And today we're diving deep into some of the most shocking things about this mysterious nation. Get ready to have your minds blown as we uncover the truth about North Korea in our latest video, Shocking Things About North Korea That You Won't Believe. All right, guys, let's talk about the internet in North Korea, or should I say the lack of it. You see, in most parts of the world, the internet is a vast, open space where you can explore, learn, and connect with people from all corners of the globe. But in North Korea, the situation is drastically different. Imagine a world where you can't just hop on YouTube and binge your favorite creators. No tutorials, no vlogs, no music videos. It's not just about entertainment. It's about access to information and the freedom to learn from a diverse range of sources. Yeah, that's the reality for the people living there. The internet, as we know it, is a distant dream. Instead, they are confined to a digital prison with very limited resources. They have something called the Kwangmyong, which is their own super limited version of the internet. It's a closed network completely isolated from the global internet. Imagine being in a library with only a few books, all of which are carefully selected and approved by the government. Think about the most heavily censored, restricted version of the internet you can, and then multiply that by like 1,000. It's wild. The content is not just limited, it's meticulously curated to ensure that only government-approved information is available. We're talking maybe a couple dozen websites, max, all carefully controlled by the government. These websites are mostly educational or propaganda tools designed to reinforce the state's ideology and control over its citizens. No Facebook, no Instagram, no Google. Can you even imagine? Social media, as we know it, doesn't exist. There's no platform for people to share their thoughts, experiences, or connect with friends and family outside the country. It's like being stuck in a digital time capsule. The technology is outdated and the information is stale. There's no way to keep up with global trends, news, or advancements in technology. They do have some access to their own internal network, but even that's heavily monitored. Privacy? Forget about it. Every click, every search, every piece of data is scrutinized by the authorities. It's like Big Brother is watching their every digital move. The level of surveillance is intense, creating an environment of fear and self-censorship. People are constantly aware that their online activities are being watched, which stifles any form of free expression or dissent. The content they can access is heavily propagandized. News articles, educational materials, and even entertainment are all designed to promote the government's agenda. There's no room for alternative viewpoints or independent journalism, and forget about trying to bypass these restrictions. VPNs and other tools that people in other countries might use to access blocked content are illegal and heavily punished. The government goes to great lengths to ensure that its citizens remain isolated from the outside world. The result is a population that is largely cut off from the global community. They are denied the opportunity to learn from diverse perspectives, to innovate, and to participate in the global conversation. It's a form of digital isolation that has profound implications for the country's development and the well-being of its people. But despite these challenges, there are stories of resilience and hope. Some North Koreans have found ways to smuggle in information from the outside world, risking their lives to access the truth. These acts of defiance are a testament to the human spirit's desire for freedom and knowledge. So the next time you log onto the internet, take a moment to appreciate the freedom you have. The ability to explore, learn, and connect without fear of censorship or surveillance is a privilege that many around the world are still fighting for. Let's not take it for granted. And let's continue to support those who are striving for a more open and connected world where information flows freely and everyone has the opportunity to reach their full potential. Okay, get this. In North Korea, serving in the military isn't just an option, it's a requirement. And we're not just talking about the guys. Both men and women have to answer the call of duty. For men, it's a solid 10 years of their lives dedicated to the military. Can you imagine spending a decade in service? That's like your entire 20s gone. And for women, it's a bit shorter, around 7 years, but still a significant chunk of their lives. This intense focus on military service shows just how much emphasis the North Korean government puts on defense and control. They're constantly preparing, always on guard. It's a whole different world over there. 3 generations of punishment. The sins of the father. This one's heavy, guys. We're diving into a topic that is as harrowing as it is important to understand. The concept of inherited punishment is not just a relic of the past, but a present-day reality for many. North Korea operates under a system called 3 generations of punishment. This policy is as draconian as it sounds, and it has been a cornerstone of the regime's method of maintaining control over its population. It's basically like something out of an ancient myth, but it's very real and very scary. Imagine the tales of old where curses would be passed down through generations. Now imagine that in the modern world, enforced by a government. Here's how it works. Let's say someone speaks out against the government or tries to escape. In most places, the individual would face the consequences of their actions. But in North Korea, the repercussions extend far beyond the individual. It's not just them who face the consequences. Their entire family is implicated. This means that their parents, siblings, children, and even grandchildren can be held accountable for one person's actions. Their children and even their grandchildren can be punished too. This creates a pervasive atmosphere of fear and control where the actions of one can doom the futures of many. We're talking prison camps, forced labor, the works. These are not just temporary detentions, they are long-term sentences that can last for decades, often involving grueling labor and inhumane conditions. It's a brutal system designed to crush any dissent and keep people too terrified to even think about stepping out of line. The regime uses this policy to instill a deep-seated fear that paralyzes any potential opposition. The thought of your actions impacting your family for generations is just unthinkable. Imagine living every day knowing that a single misstep could lead to the suffering of your loved ones, not just now, but for decades to come. This policy is deeply rooted in the history and ideology of the North Korean regime. It serves as a powerful tool for maintaining loyalty and obedience, ensuring that the population remains under tight control. Many defectors who have escaped North Korea speak of the overwhelming fear and paranoia that this policy creates. They describe a society where trust is scarce and everyone is constantly looking over their shoulder. The scale of this system is staggering. There are numerous prison camps scattered across the country, each housing thousands of prisoners, many of whom are there because of the actions of a relative. International human rights organizations have condemned this practice, calling it a violation of basic human rights. Efforts are ongoing to bring global attention to the plight of those suffering under this regime. Despite the oppressive nature of this policy, there is hope. Stories of resilience and courage emerge from those who have managed to escape and share their experiences with the world. Their voices are crucial in the fight for justice and change. Understanding the reality of 3 generations of punishment is essential in recognizing the lengths to which some regimes will go to maintain power. It's a stark reminder of the importance of freedom and the ongoing struggle for human rights. Restricted travel trapped within their own borders. Think you can just hop in your car and take a road trip in North Korea? Think again. The reality is far more restrictive than you might imagine. Movement within the country is heavily restricted. Military checkpoints are a common sight, and they serve as constant reminders of the government's tight control over its citizens. Citizens need special permits to travel between cities or regions. These permits are not easy to obtain, and often require a lengthy and bureaucratic process. Imagine needing government permission every time you want to visit your grandma. It's not just a simple visit, it's a complex procedure filled with red tape. And forget about leaving the country altogether. For ordinary citizens, international travel is a distant dream, almost an impossibility. That's basically impossible for ordinary citizens. They live their lives confined within the borders of their own country, unable to explore the world beyond. They're trapped, unable to experience the world outside their borders. The sense of isolation is palpable, and it affects every aspect of their lives. It's like living in a giant open-air prison. The barbed wire fences and high walls serve as physical barriers, but they also symbolize the psychological confinement experienced by the people. The government wants to control the flow of information and prevent any outside influences from seeping in. Propaganda is everywhere, reinforcing the regime's narrative and discouraging dissent. It's all about maintaining their grip on power. The leadership uses these restrictions to ensure that the population remains loyal and uninformed about the outside world. Even from a young age, children are taught to revere their leaders and to view the outside world with suspicion. Education is another tool used to control and manipulate the populace. Daily life is a constant struggle. Basic necessities are often scarce, and the black market becomes a lifeline for many. Yet even this underground economy is fraught with risks and dangers. At home, families gather around state-controlled television, which broadcasts a steady stream of propaganda. The outside world is portrayed as dangerous and corrupt, further isolating the citizens. In the countryside, farmers toil under harsh conditions, with much of their produce going to the state. The rural areas are often neglected, adding to the sense of entrapment and despair. Some brave souls attempt to escape, risking their lives for a chance at freedom. These defectors face unimaginable hardships, but their stories offer a glimpse into the harsh realities of life in North Korea. The borders are heavily guarded, making escape incredibly difficult. Those caught trying to flee face severe punishment, not just for themselves, but often for their families as well. Prison camps are a grim reality for many. These camps are notorious for their brutal conditions and serve as a stark warning to anyone considering defiance. Despite these harsh conditions, the spirit of the people endures. They find ways to survive, to connect, and to hold on to hope, even in the face of overwhelming adversity. The sun sets over North Korea, casting a shadow over a nation trapped within its own borders. But even in the darkest times, the human spirit remains unbroken, yearning for a taste of freedom. The flag waves, a symbol of a nation under strict control. Yet, beneath it all, the desire for freedom and a better life continues to burn brightly in the hearts of its people. State-controlled media, a nation-fed propaganda. In North Korea, the news isn't just biased, it's completely controlled by the state. Newspapers, TV, radio, it's all a mouthpiece for the government's propaganda. Imagine turning on the TV and the only thing on is state-sponsored news, praising the leaders and painting a rosy picture of life in North Korea. There's no room for debate, no challenging the official narrative. It's brainwashing on a massive scale. People are fed a constant diet of propaganda, completely cut off from any alternative viewpoints. It's hard to even fathom what it must be like to live in a place where information is so tightly controlled. So there you have it, guys, a glimpse into the shocking realities of life in North Korea. From the internet restrictions to the mandatory military service and the chilling 3 generations of punishment, it's a country unlike any other. It's a stark reminder of the importance of freedom and the value of critical thinking. Let me know in the comments what shocked you the most. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more eye-opening content. And stay tuned, because next week we're diving into another mysterious location. You won't want to miss it.